Coming up on Sports Night. The women's basketball team attempts to clinch a Big Ten title for the first time in 30 years.
Northwestern tries to get back on track against Stanford in women's lacrosse.
And USC quarterback Jack Sears visits as a potential grad transfer for Northwestern football. We've got tons of stuff going on in Northwestern sports this past week, so let's not waste any time.
All right, shall we? It's Sports Night right now.
Welcome back to Sports Night. I'm Emma Steinberg, joined by Hallie DeVore. Hallie, it's your first time anchoring, and how are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling great, but not as great as the Northwestern women's basketball team must have felt heading into their final game of the season this past week. Every week here seems to be a big week for Northwestern's women's basketball, but this past Saturday winning their final season game against Illinois would leave them as Big Ten champions of the regular season. Northwestern playing its regular season finale at home on Senior Day as they take on the Fighting Illini. The Illini kept it close in the first quarter as Petra Holoshinska sinks the three to tie the game early on. Northwestern struggled to shoot in the early going, but unanimous first-team all-big guard Lindsey Pulliam buries the triple to answer the Illini and get the Northwestern's offense on track. As the first half winds down, the Illini defense leaves Burton open from behind the arc and she buries the triple. The Cats would take an 11-point lead into the second half. Cats struggling to pull away from Illinois, but Abby Wolf was able to break the Illini defense with her size in the paint. She finished with 21 points and 9 rebounds. Wolf gets another and one to go. She is fired up, and so is the crowd. The Cats take a double-digit lead. Again, the third quarter, it was all Abby Wolf. She corrals the Veronica Burton missed three, and then finds Burton to a cut on the basket, who converts the wide-open layup. In the fourth quarter, the Cats are up comfortably, but Courtney Shaw shows great hustle and determination to get the pullback to go. Lindsey Pulliam turned in another great game, finishing with 17 points, including one of her signature pull-up jumpers in transition. Northwestern's defense continued to operate at a high level. Jordan Hamilton swats the shot away and finished the layup in transition. The Cats used a dominating second half to defeat the Illini by a score of 75-58 with the win. Northwestern clinches its first Big Ten title in 30 years and earns a double bye for this week's Big Ten Tournament Championship.
The saying goes, good things come to those who wait. Well, it's been 29 years since Northwestern women's basketball won the Big Ten championship, and for this year anyway, the hardwood is run by the purple and white.
The 10 basketball tournament has already kicked off, and the Cats will match up against the winner of the Michigan versus Nebraska game going on right now. Chris Burton has more on just how special this women's basketball season was.
Thanks, Emma. By all accounts, it's been a remarkable season for the women's basketball team. But let's take some time to appreciate just how special this championship is. The last women's basketball regular season championship, their only championship, came way back in 1990. I say way back because, believe it or not, 1990 was 30 years ago. Filling up your car with gas the last time the Wildcats won would have cost you $1.89 a gallon. The #1 movie that year was Home Alone, and a ticket to see it would set you back a little more than $4. The 1990 NBA MVP was Magic Johnson, and this year's MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, was 4 years from being born. Here's a more sobering thought. The last time the Cats won the Big Ten regular season, the WNBA didn't exist. That's right, the WNBA was founded in 1996. Before then, players who couldn't make the Olympic team and didn't want to go overseas saw their careers end after college. The women's game has come a long way since then, but there's still a long way to go. Let's jump back to the present for a second. Welsh Ryan Arena can hold about 8,100 fans. An average men's game drew about 5,500. A women's game, in perhaps their best season ever, drew just over 1,400. Now, there are plenty of reasons for this, ranging from a lack of promotion at all levels of the women's game to decreased accessibility of the games themselves. But the good news for fans, this team's magical season is far from over. Next up for the Cats is the Big Ten tournament, where they can make history again. In their 39 years in the Big Ten, the Cats have never won the end-of-season tournament. Lindsey Pulliam, Abby Scheid, and all the Cats have built something unprecedented this year. They deserve to be seen. Emma, Hallie, back to you.
Unlike the women's team, things haven't been looking so great for men's basketball. Looking to break an 11-game losing streak, Northwestern men's basketball took on the Fighting Illini at home last week. The Cats took their home court for the second-to-last time this season, taking on Illinois, and Miller Kopp tries to get things going early with a three off the feed from Pat Spencer. He finished the game with 14 points. Later in the first, Ayo Dosunmu off the outlet pass takes to the rim and gets the layup to go. To the second half we go, and it's more from Illinois. Trent Frazier getting in on the action with a three. He had 9 points on the night. But take a look at this play. Illinois misses a jumper, and Pat Spencer grabs the rebound, takes it coast to coast, the Illini defense nowhere to be found, and finishes with a beautiful reverse layup to try to get the Cats back in this game. But the Illini would be too much. Alan Griffin hits the corner three. He led the game with 24 points, including 6 threes. Illinois wins 74-66, and the Cats now head to Nebraska with a 12-game losing streak.
After this 12-game losing streak, the Wildcats look to break the streak against Nebraska in Lincoln this past Sunday. We're going to start our highlights late in the game because this one came down to the very end. With the Cats up by 3, Hanif Cheatham ties it up for the Cornhuskers with a 3 of his own. Fast forward with 50 seconds left, Northwestern's very own Pat Spencer is too calm as he drains a free throw to tie it up at 67. And with seconds left in regulation and an even ball game, Boo Buie drives and dishes it over to Spencer, who can't get the jumper to go, so we have overtime in Nebraska. 2 minutes left in extra time, Boo Buie shimmies through the defense and gets the clutch floater to put the Cats up by a score of 76-70. But Nebraska would not go away without a fight as Deshaun Burke buries home a triple to bring the Cornhuskers within a couple. Still, the comeback effort was too little too late as Miller Kopp dribbles the game to its finish for the Wildcats. And Northwestern is able to break a historic losing streak with an 81-76 victory in Nebraska.
The Cats matched up against the Wisconsin Badgers for senior night in Madison, and early in the first half, Wisconsin jumps on the Cats quick with a three-pointer from the corner. This was one of 4 the Badgers hit in the first 5 minutes of gameplay. Brad Davidson gets in on the party later in the first half. The Badgers led by as many as 17 before halftime. Some far-out shooting was kept on Northwestern in the game as Robbie Barron hits a 3 in the late first half. He's been a bright spot in this dark season for the Cats. Barron had 4 rebounds and 6 points on the night. And then Pete Nance, struggling of late, coming off the bench with 7 rebounds on the night, hits a huge triple. The Cats cut the lead to 6 at the half, and Nance is fired up, but there was not much fire left for the Cats in the second half. Wisconsin ran away with the game, winning 63-48. The Cats take on number 20 ranked Penn State this weekend in their last game of the season.
Don't go anywhere. We'll see how Northwestern's number 6 ranked lacrosse team did against Stanford. We'll cover Northwestern's annual student-athlete lip-sync battle and talk to Calypso Sharon about how things went for women's swim and diving at the Big Ten Championships. Don't go anywhere.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back. While men's basketball is closing a losing season, hopefully women's lacrosse is starting a winning one.
After a tough loss to Syracuse 2 weeks ago, the lacrosse team hosted Stanford University last weekend looking to get back on track. The number 7 Wildcats were at home last week to take on the number 24 Stanford Cardinal at Ryan Fieldhouse in Evanston. Northwestern would take the early lead with Liza Elder drawing first blood off the first position shot to put her team up 1. And Taylor Pinzone doubles the score for the Cats a few moments later, but the Cardinal would not go away and roar it back with a 7-0 run to take a comfortable lead. With Northwestern down by 3 late in the first half, Lindsay McCone takes the ball herself and drives through the fan for a goal to stop the Cardinal run, and the Wildcats would take full advantage off the momentum. With only 15 seconds left in the first half, Megan Kinna picks up the ball near the crease and dumps it in the net to bring Northwestern within 1. And with only 5 seconds left, Lauren Gilbert drives down the field on her own to make it back-to-back scores to tie the game before the half. In the second half, it was all Northwestern, as the team scored 15 goals. Notable performers included Lauren Gilbert with 6 goals and Izzy Skane, who scored 5. The Cats went on to win 25-18. The Cats have the weekend off, but are back in action against UNC at home this Monday.
Every year, one of the best athletic events on Northwestern's campus is not for a loss or a win, but for charity. I spoke with the ones in charge of all aspects of the event to see what it was all about. The Northwestern community packed in a Con auditorium Monday night for the 3rd ever student lip sync battle.
A lot of muscle, a lot of glitz, a lot of glamour. We're gonna bring you up or we're gonna bring you down. That's what we do.
Yeah. Dance Marathon and Student Athletic Advisory Committee partner up to host the event.
I am super excited about this lip sync battle because there's so many different acts than past years. I think there's different teams that are starting to participate.
It's really nice to be able to get out of that like Walter Athletic Center and just like mess around with each other and be silly and have a goofy time, because like that's like what brings us together, is knowing how hard we work, but that we can also come and do something like this.
Jordan Hamilton may have been the winner in tonight's lip sync battle, but the real winner was Dance Marathon, who raised nearly $1,000 for charity. Most of the money goes towards the primary beneficiary, Children's Home and Aid. It works with foster children across Illinois to help them find homes and support them through emotional trauma.
And then it results in a 30-hour actual dance marathon where we're all on its head just dancing for 30 hours straight.
During those 30 hours, Dance Marathon holds a 3-hour athlete block.
We as a football team go every year for like an hour block and just dance, get on stage, try to get people hyped up, because like they're 30 hours in, so they're just like dance zombies, so it gets them going.
Northwestern Dance Marathon has raised over $20 million in its 46-year history.
We see how much they fundraise and like how much that event means to this like whole Northwestern community. So just like any way that we can like go and be a part of that and show that like we see what you're doing, that's just like what we try to do.
Not all of us can go there and like dance and support that way, so like having this event is super awesome and it's super fun, and it just brings us all together as an athletic community.
And more importantly than bring us together, like it supports an awesome fundraiser and dance marathon, and it's an awesome way for us as student athletes in our community to contribute to something that's like campus-wide.
Publicly having the support of athletics of each individual team, especially with an event like this, really says a lot to the community in Evanston that this is something that people here really care about.
Northwestern officials canceled Dance Marathon this year because of coronavirus fears, but the money raised will still go towards a great cause. With NNN Sports, I'm Emily Eamon.
This past Saturday, the men's swimming and diving team took part in the Big Ten Championships in Bloomington, Indiana. The team finished with 665 total points, the most in program history, which placed them in 5th place overall. Sophomore Ryan Gridley and senior Jack Thorne finished 9th and 14th respectively in the 200 back finals. The team travels to Lexington, Kentucky in a week to compete in the NCAA Zone Diving Championships.
2 weekends ago, the women's swimming and diving team went to Iowa City to compete in the Big Ten Championships. The team finished in 4th place and was led by junior Calypso Sheridan, who took home the gold in the 400 individual medley and the 200 breaststroke. Freshman Markey Hopkins won in platform diving, becoming the second Wildcat diver in the last 3 years to do this. Next weekend, the team will be in Lexington along with the men's team to participate in the NCAA Zone Diving Championships.
Speaking of women's swimming and diving, I'm here with women's swimmer Calypso Sheridan. Calypso, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you absolutely killed it at Big Tens. For people who don't know, Calypso broke 3 individual school records and broke 2 records in relays. She also won not 1 but 2 Big Ten championships in the 400 IM and the 200 breast. This is absolutely insane. So what was your biggest thing in training that you focused on this year to help you achieve these personal goals?
Right, so going into last year, I knew I had done all the training possible, but I still had a lot of room for improvement. And so this improvement came from small things in practice. So in my breaststroke, I would squeeze my legs together to make it more like dynamic, aerodynamic, so that when I swam, I used less energy, which is really important on the 4th day of a meet. When I've swum a 400 IM, I've swum a 200 IM, 4 relays, I'm dying, and I need that little bit of energy just to get through it.
Yeah, and so along with you, your teammates also killed it at Big Tens. Like I said, Marky Hopkins won Big Ten platform diving, and a whole bunch of other swimmers set even more school records. So what was your team's biggest strength in heading into Big Tens and also just competing as a whole?
Right, so I think our biggest strength this year was our culture. Last year, we went into Big Tens, we had a culture, but we found like we had a few issues, and this year our returning swimmers came in knowing what we'd done, knowing what we could do, and having the freshmen come in and having them in sync with our goals made it a really strong and cohesive team. So we had a culture of competition, but also of support. So that really helped us this year.
And then finally, the team finished 4th overall at Big Tens, a huge step up from last year's 7th place finish. What was the biggest change this year for the team that you think helped make this turnaround?
Right, so last year we just got our new coaching staff, and so it was a big change. But this year we've had 2 seasons with them, and they've been really supportive and especially driving us towards setting our team culture that I mentioned before. So I think we can really attribute it to our coaches, because we had a great recruiting class, our freshmen this year, but they weren't on the highest level, but our coaches developed that talent. So we had Emma Lepisova, who came 2nd at Big Tens this year. She dropped 5 seconds, and I definitely think like kudos to her, but also our coaches have been amazing and have really driven us to success.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Phenomenal season. Calypso, it's been a pleasure having you with us. Everyone make sure that they can catch her in the pool for the NCAA's A cuts in both the 200 IM and 400 IM races. Thanks, Calypso.
Thank you.
It may be spring, but football rumors are brewing. And according to reports from Rivals and 247 Sports, Northwestern is recruiting grad transfer quarterbacks Jack Sears of USC and Peyton Ramsey of Indiana. Sears was a 4-star recruit out of San Clemente, California when he committed to USC over Northwestern, Duke, and others. He only started 1 game for the Trojans, throwing for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns against Arizona State in 2018. Sears has 2 years of eligibility remaining. Ramsey started every game as a redshirt sophomore for the Hoosiers in 2018 and came on in relief against Northwestern last fall. During his Indiana career, Ramsey threw for more than 6,500 yards with 42 touchdowns and 23 interceptions. Ramsey has 1 year of eligibility remaining.
Don't go anywhere. We'll see how the Northwestern baseball and softball teams are starting their seasons, and we'll also check out how men's and women's tennis are looking so far. Stick around.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back. Hallie, I know spring is almost here. What are you looking forward to most?
Well, I'm from Portland, Oregon, so I'm looking forward to not having it rain as much during the spring, and hopefully the weather will be nicer, the flowers will bloom a little more, so I'm definitely going to have to say I'm looking forward most to the weather.
I can relate. Being from California, I'm the same way, but along with that, we also have some of the best outdoor sports.
Coming off a series win against South Carolina, the Cats were looking to get back over 500 for the first time all season. They traveled to Tampa, Florida this past weekend to face off against the South Florida Bulls in a 3-game series. The Cats couldn't keep their momentum up as they fell short in all 3 contests. Northwestern's offense could not get anything going in Game 1 and 2, falling 2-1 in both games. Top performances for the Wildcats include 5 shutout innings by Friday starter Mike Doherty in Game 1 and a 4-for-5 day at the plate for center fielder David Dunn in Game 2. The Northwestern bats came alive in Game 3 as the Wildcats totaled 9 hits and 4 different players drove in at least 1 run. However, Quinn Lavelle and the Wildcats pitching staff could not quiet the Bulls' offense, and Northwestern fell 10-5 in Game 3.
Next, the Wildcats went into the city to take on UIC and came back to Evanston with an 8-2 victory. David Dunn got the scoring started with a 2-run jack in the first, and the Cats scored 6 more runs thanks to RBIs from Evan Minarvik, Kyle Burnett Jr., Jack Anderson, and Casey O'Laughlin. First-year Jack Dyke pitched the 7 innings and allowed just 2 runs while striking out 6. Next up, the Cats travel to Spartanburg for a game with Western Carolina early tomorrow morning. After their contest, the Cats stay in Spartanburg to play 2 games on Saturday and 1 Sunday against the University of South Carolina upstate.
Kate Drohan's softball team headed down to Norman, Oklahoma for the Courtyard Marriott tournament hosted by the University of Oklahoma. The Cats have been struggling early this season but ended the 5-game tourney with a 3-2 record. The action started on Friday as Danielle Williams notched her 2nd win of the season from the diamond and helped her own cause by hitting a home run, finishing the game with 2 RBIs as the Cats won. They dropped the 2nd game against number 5 in the country, Oklahoma. Saturday entailed a doubleheader against Abilene Christian, who Angela Zedak and crew rolled over in both games. The action ended Sunday with a rematch against the Sooners. However, lightning struck twice as Northwestern could not get the offense going, dropping their final game 5-1. Northwestern will be on the field this weekend at Louisville Invitational.
In a close race, Northwestern women's tennis fell 4-3 to Kansas on Sunday afternoon. The Jayhawks squeaked by with the win after being up 4-1 on the day. The Cats attempted a comeback as Hannah McColgan won her match 1-6, 7-6, and 7-5, and number 58 ranked Julie Byrne won 6-3, 5-7, and 7-6, with a tiebreaker in the 3rd set. Unfortunately, they came up just short. The Cats' next opponent will be their 2nd conference match of the season against Ohio State on the road this Saturday.
After winning a tough match against Columbia, the Cats hosted the University of Illinois Chicago later on that same Saturday. Sophomore Stephen Foreman and senior Chris Efron won their singles matches early in the night. Trice Pickens won the match clinching point for singles play when he was able to pick up the 6-1, 6-4 victory. The team did not look tired from their match earlier in the day and shut out UIC 4-0. The team will be at home this Saturday against Illinois.
Don't go anywhere because your favorite segment, Plays of the Week, is up next, right here on SportsNight.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. Western University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back. We have covered a lot tonight, but at some point you've got to bring it down to the week's best of the best. You know what's next? It's Plays of the Week.
At number 3, Robbie Barron looks as to pass it right to Miller Kopp, but fakes and drives the defense for a slam dunk, the true freshman forward making himself known.
At number 2, Lauren Gilbert breaks through Stanford's defense. She carries it all the way down the field to sink a shot right in the net. Her shot ties the game at the end of the first half.
Finally, number 1, what else than the moment where the women's basketball team took the regular season Big Ten championship? What a special moment for this team.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have tonight. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at NNN Sports. For Hallie DeVore, I'm Emma Steinberg. Have a good night.